it's Dawn. Welcome back. I did a birthday splurge recently, and by splurge, that just means I bought some new colors. And Daniel Smith came out with some newer colors this year. I think 6 new ones. I picked up 3. And then while I was at it, I've heard a lot about this other color. Let me move you down a little closer. And so I picked up that one too. So I'll go over all this. I got Juane Brilliant 1. I got Coral Reef Earthy Red Light. And then I added in a Holbein Davies gray, which is like this green gray instead of a blue gray, which I thought was kind of interesting. But I started drawing out this little geometric pattern over here. And I thought, well, I really want to kind of see how these guys swatch out because, that's how I roll. So I squeezed out, I plan on using 5 colors, these 5, the Juane Brilliant, Coral Reef, Earthy Red Light, and then I added to it from my stash, Undersea Green and Indanthrone Blue. But then I thought, well, I'm going to swatch these 5 out to figure out how I'm going to do this piece over here. And I didn't want to leave it empty, so I just grabbed my Davies Gray. So I'm going to get these wet. Oh, and then I'm using this cute little guy. I picked this guy up at Aldi back during Easter. What a fun little palette. Well, we're going to see if it's a fun little palette. We're just, because, I don't have enough palettes. I need some more. That's sarcasm. So we're going to see if we like this. I think I might, because it's ceramic, and yeah, we'll see. So let me kind of set the stage, and I'll be right back. All right, getting ready to get started here, and of course I'm no pigment snob by any means, but I do like to look. Juane Brilliant is PY65 and PW6, which I believe that's titanium white. Yeah, it is. It says here on the label. Ooh, helps if you can read. Anyway, I try to. Not sure I like how I positioned these on the pinnacles. They might have been better off in the well, but whatever. This looks very opaque, and that's because of that titanium white. But Naples, it reminds me a lot of Naples yellow, but then again, not, because it's not as I don't know, it's not as orangey as Naples yellow. And yet, here, as I swatch it out, maybe it is. But I like doing this so that I can get a feel for what the pigments are before I start a project. Sometimes I put them in the book itself, like over here, like in the margins. But this sketchbook that I'm doing, I may make this a tip-in. If you guys are junk journals, you'll know what that means, where you just like put washi tape and you just like put it in here so you can see the colors you used in that project. Or I might just put it in the margins. I might put little dots in the margins, like of the colors I used, with like a little label on it. I don't know. For being an opaque color, it sure is getting flat really fast to me. I don't dislike it, but it's very yellow. Trying to build up a nice layer, or nice gradation here between the. Okay, that looks good. All right, let's move on to Coral Reef. That one is PO73, Pyrrole Orange, and again, PW6, which is that titanium white. So here we go. Yeah, I think next time I might put it on the side instead of all the way up here on the top piece. Also, too, it limits. But I was thinking what it might be fun would be to have all of the different wells. So if I wanted to mix, oh, you can't really see what I'm doing here. So if you wanted to mix, like Juane Brilliant in with the Coral Reef or in with Indanthrone or whatever, you could get a good feel for how those guys would interact with each other. But that's okay. Or blend, you get different blends, like your own mixing palette. But This is kind of my go-to palette normally. This one's a bit of a mess. I'm trying to clean it out. Clank. But, you know, this was like, I don't know, a couple bucks. And so I picked it up and thought, we'll give it a shot. I've seen other people use them. Ooh, I like Coral Reef. I don't just like Juane Brilliant. It's just, imagine it's going to make a good mixing color. But what I was looking for, more than anything with this palette or with these colors, was some opaque ones. And we definitely are getting that with these first two. And I don't know if Earthy Red Light has titanium white in it or not, but we're about to find out, aren't we? Ooh, way too much pigment there. Oh, made a mess of that. But this gives me a good feel for the pigments before I start the project, is what I was trying to say a minute ago. Got sidetracked, I'm afraid. Oh, and I forgot to show you. I always do, this is 100% cotton paper, and then I use this Tim Holtz stencil by Stampers Anonymous. Boy, say that 5 times fast. The number on it is THS 179. So in case you're looking to duplicate this process, or you just want a good pattern to draw your, wow, how did I get that much indanthrone on my fingernail? Oh, not good. That is super staining. And I just don't want to get on anything else. All right, paper towel to the rescue. See what I mean about super staining? That just stained the tip of my fingernail. That's okay. I'll do some dishes. It'll come out. It's an intense color. Yeah, I'm doing a little flippy here. Sorry about that. These are very Eastery colors, aren't they? The yellow and this coral color. I love me a coral. I do. All right, let's move on to the Earthy Red Light. No, this is red iron oxide. It is PR290. It is a single pigment. It is good to go. All right, let's see what we get here. It reads very orange. Oh, look, I got some blue there. Reads very terracotta. Oh, I like it. Oh, yeah. Hopefully it'll mix up nicely with, I've already done a mixing chart. So there's some nice mixes that'll come from this, but I don't know how much on this new project I'm going to mix, or if I'm going to just keep it the 5 colors. That'll be next. That's my next thing to do. I wonder if this is going to be granulating. I bet it is, because usually natural pigments like this will granulate when you paint with them. Woo, that is the same color right there, isn't it? Let's see if we can take that down a step. Get that mid-tone going. Well, it doesn't feel like there's much of a variation there, but we'll keep going. And I realize that my book, I'm not using 100% cotton paper. I'm using Strathmore 400 series, and this is 100% cotton that I'm swatching on, which this is going to give you the best case scenario, how it's going to turn out. But that's okay. I'm willing to deal with the variance if there is any. All right, now we're going to go to a tried and true Undersea green. We love this color. You know it. You love it. I've swatched it 100 times. I keep using it because you just can't go wrong with Undersea green. First of all, I love greens. I love granulating greens. And Undersea green is right up there with some of my favorite greens. It just has a beautiful It just has a beautiful color. It's if, to me, if sap green and olive green had a baby. That is Undersea green. I think it is perhaps, I say this every time I pull out a green, I go, oh, it's my favorite. But then the next green I pull out, oh no, this is my favorite. I am fickle when it comes to my greens because I love them all. It's like your children. You love them all. The jury's out about this egg thing. I think I might like it better if I had to put the pigment down in the well. I may move them. But let's just keep going. Stop worrying about the little stuff. First world problems, right? Right. Hey, pull a paper plate, not a paper plate. Pull a ceramic plate out of your kitchen. You'll be fine. As long as it's non-porous, use anything you've got. Piece of glass out of your 5x7 frame that broke. I've done that. Piece of glass, I mean. Or piece of acrylic. Okay, there's Undersea green. Beautiful. Wish you were here. All right, indanthrone, you're up. Indanthrone does not play. It is serious as a heart attack. I barely touched it, and I have got the deepest blue going on here. Look how nice those are together, though. Aren't they lovely? I'm really pleased adding this green and this dark blue. I think this is going to turn out really well. Just trying to charge this up a little bit and get it to its mass tone. I'm excited to try the Davies gray, even though it's kind of an add-on on this swatch sheet. I don't know that I'm going to use it on my project over here, honestly. I may, but I was trying to do a limited palette, you know, and it still will be. Yeah, I think I might move these down into, or down to the side. And I say move, you know, to whatever extent I can do that. But I think like mixing up a whole bunch of a color or whatever will be easier if I have it where I feel like I can wet it and it's not going to run over the side. Just editorial comment. Okay. Oops. It's a beautiful blue. Oh, I forgot to tell you the color on indanthrone. Indanthrone is PB60. And then Undersea green is 3. PB29, PO 48, and PY150. Love Undersea green. Love, 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 love. Okay. Those are some pretty color blues, aren't they? Yep, yep, yep. They are. All right, now let's play around with our new color, Davies Gray. Davies Gray, I'm not familiar with Holbein's packaging, so somewhere, aha. Looks like it says PB7, PBK6 and PW6. Ah, there we go. Titanium white again. All right. Well, let's get that mass tone down first and see what we're dealing with. My brush is a little too wet. Definitely a gray leaning green. I use Payne's gray a lot, and I love it. And I've heard other artists using Davies gray. So when I was in my local art store last week for my birthday, and I was picking up my new colors, these three, I thought, you know, let me see if they've got, I didn't remember if Daniel Smith sells the Davies gray, and I'm not even, I still don't know the answer to that question. But that store, Sam Flax in downtown Orlando, they did not have it. They don't carry the whole range of Daniel Smith. They got a good selection, but they don't have the whole thing. So right next to it was the Holbein watercolors. So I looked, and sure enough, they had it. So I said, hey, let's try it, because it's definitely a green leaning, and I knew it's different than the Payne's. And you know what? To be fair, I've used Payne's gray like Winsor Newton, Payne's gray, Daniel Smith, and who's the other Payne's gray? Mission. And one man's Payne's gray is, I mean, they're all, they might have the same pigments, but you do not get the same effect. You do not get the same color, because their ratios are all different, I suppose. But anyway. Okay, well, that is a fun little palette that we're going to play with. So now we swatched out. Look at that undersea green. Just look at it. Look at it. See? Look at that mid-tone right there. That's why we love undersea green. That's why we love it. That's why we love it. Okay, so we're going to let this dry down a little bit, and then I'll start to work on this piece over here, and that'll be my next video. Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon. Bye.